Our generation isn't turning away from the world's problems. Watch us fly ahead, rise to every challenge, and overcome anything. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Well, good morrow, weary traveller. Please, why don't you take a seat and join us for the Rally Cry Collegiate Series, week number 4 of bracket play. It is quite a time to be alive, as our top 16 is already locked in, but not necessarily the order of such. More on that later. I'm Relic. I'm joined, as always, by the wonderful Galgan. First of all, how are you this evening, good sir? And second of all, we're finally here. This is the bracket before the final bracket. Exciting times.
It does feel like a long time coming. The dawn before the final day has arrived, and it's time to find out the pecking order, as we've been alluding to all series long here. 4 weekends of closed qualifier play have led to this moment where at the end of it, we've got 16 teams, all with different point totals, all totaling up to their spot in that all-important playoff bracket, where they will finally fight for the lump sum of the prize pool on offer here in the Rally Cry Collegiate Series. Again, there's so much on offer between all of the titles, but we know that the players here are fighting for the lion's share of $6,000. That's what they're here for. That's what they came for. And they sure as heck want to leave with it.
Shout out to all of our cousins in camaraderie in terms of the CS2, Madden, FGC broadcasts. We see ya. We love ya. But we do love Rocket League a little bit more, hence why we're here. But so do these teams, of course. We have seen some fantastic Rocket League. We've seen some chaotic Rocket League. We've seen some tense Rocket League. And we sure have seen some Rocket League. And it's all led us to this moment in time, Galgan, where going into week number 4, we're asking, okay, who's going to get into that top 16? And we were slightly worried. We were thinking, well, you know, a lot of these teams, they've accrued a lot of points. They know they're locked into the top 16 already. Are they going to turn up to contest their seeding? Or in the case of UT Dallas, who are currently in the spotlight, hold on to that number 1 spot? And we have great news on that front. UT Dallas are here. Second placed Drexel Dragons are also here. Drexel Dragons, of course, coming off the back of victory in week number 3. Southern Miss Coca-Cola is back, as are the majority of what were the top 16 going into this week. But 2 of that top 16, Galgan, have not turned up, and it has cost them a place in the playoffs.
It's well and truly unfortunate, but you mentioned those 2 teams that are sitting with their thrones well ready to be abdicated. That, of course, refers to Michigan State, White, and Northeastern, who are too low on the table to defend their spot from the 2 schools that are not there yet, but will be shortly by virtue of the points they gain this weekend, whether or not they continue a winning streak. Those 2 schools looking to make their way onto the table, Thomas College, who find themselves in an early matchup against those Pescados from Fisher College. Meanwhile, Southern Miss Gold is trying to follow in their proverbial big brother's footsteps, Southern Miss Coca-Cola, by stringing together some success of their own. They'll have to do it opening up this bracket against Terps Esports, who have had some success in prior iterations on this stream. Another opening round matchup is the University of New Haven, those Chargers taking on Bowling Green State. But Relic, our eyes are fixated amongst the top of the bracket, the closest seeding battle we have on offer today. 8 versus 9. Does it get any better than this? You'll have to wait and see. UC Berkeley coming back at it again against Ohio State Gray, who may not have played as many qualifiers as they wanted to, but they're trying to make the limited quantity count here with professional quality.
Boy, howdy, they have practically both found the same seat on the same bus. 5 points separating the 2, Galgan, and it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. And quite frankly, this is huge for both of these squads. Close enough to the top 8 to think that they could get a beneficial seeding going into the playoffs. But that's just it. They're both close enough, and only one of them can get those extra, bag of points so they can sort of huddle together. How far they will go is another question entirely. And to be quite frank, again, 7th and 8th place doesn't really make much difference, really, if you're 7th, 8th, or maybe 10th, 11th, 12th or so, but every point counts, every position counts. You want to obviously be giving yourself the best starting opportunity in those playoff brackets to bring off the magical word, everyone, momentum. It's important. You want to get to those later stages as soon as possible. And yeah, it's as even an opening contest on this Saturday eve, or indeed afternoon, depending on where you are, as we could have hoped for. And I'm really, really hopeful that we will see another Game 6, Game 7 scenario. They have been popping up a lot more frequently as the Rally Cry Collegiate series has been ongoing. And here we are then, UC Berkeley and Osu Grey Galgan. Who are you favoring on this one?
Oh, that's a tough call to make. I have to point out that I like your idea that this could go Game 6, Game 7. I think you have to expect it, especially when you look back to last week. Both of these teams had to play in the opening round of an 11-team bracket, so they had someone waiting for them. Cal started off against Thomas College. They went to 6 games there and then dropped another 6-game series, this time to Terps Esports. Ohio State Gray got a sweep over Alaska to kick things off before falling in 7 to those pesky Drexel Dragons. But who has the advantage here? Who will step out in front early on and try and dictate the pace of the series? Another best of 7 on the way, and a crucial one at that for both sides.
It's Berkeley in the blue, and it's Osu Grey in the orange. Hot take again. Blue and orange overrated. Let them have their colours. But I'm sure we're going to see plenty of goals with flying colours in the next 20, 30 minutes or so. And both teams, sometimes we see trepidation, sometimes we see boisterousness. Certainly seen the second of those. Big miss from Albino Bonobo. What a great name. Oh my goodness. Who misses that on the recovery? And speaking of a missed recovery, Civil Pangola practically walks it in. 1-0, 40 seconds in.
Fantastic start. Just kind of lob this one down. Take advantage of the fact that everybody's a little spaced out right now. Not really understanding exactly where they want to be. Trying to get those Game 1 jitters out of the way. It's very evident here, but at the same time, if you can thrive in the chaos, that'll work out really well to kick a series off.
I'm going to hazard a guess that is Bacon under the Albino Bonobo tag. That's going. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, no, it's not. Crossbar still got in. Well, speaking of Bacon, he's saved Berkeley's.
And that has been such a theme for UC Berkeley. In prior weeks of competition, we saw Bacon pulling off fantastic plays on both ends, but especially defensively. They like having that rock behind them, and it shows. Ohio State clearly have the task set out in front of them if they want to try and break down UC Berkeley's play style. It starts from the root of all problems, and Bacon has surely rooted a strong wall up here on defense.
It's one of Cal's, I was going to say best factors, I was going to say it's their clutch ability, but there was nothing clutch about that. Don Wad picks up on this loose ball, on this wall. It's a very simple shot into the center of the goal. Should really be saved, hits it dead center, tie game.
At the same time, you know, maybe you don't expect the player to take the shot from that angle. It's very well placed, you're right on it, but at the same time, I mean, could go to the corner, try to get a pass going. Danwad doesn't seem too keen to forego the shooting opportunities, however, as that one came down right through the middle. But a good clear from UC Berkeley. They transition quickly and try to settle in just a little bit here. Calm the nerves down. Don't make jumps that you don't feel pressured to make. And overall play a clean game, but fast and dirty seem to be how Ohio State want to try and run this ball into the offensive zone.
Bacon, lovely control, lovely setup, unselfish from Bacon. Could have panicked, could have tried to shoot near post himself, but doesn't, and that's led to the 2-1 lead.
Great scramble as well from UC Berkeley. The demo sets things up, icing on the cake. Doc Swag to tap at home. Ohio State not really present on that particular sequence. The transition is going to be something I'm watching early on here for Ohio State. Get back into the zone, get back on your feet, or on your wheels rather, and make sure that UC Berkeley, who again continue to rain down demo after demo, don't rattle you too much.
Certainly a strong start then from both sides. Defensive frailties here and there. Lovely launch from B-Boys. Backboard, well read by Doc Swag, who's going to follow up on this. Civil Pangolan ahead of the train, but a bit of miscommunication and mishandling of possession there means that although they still go forward, they're now going to go forward with one less, more buying time than anything. We've hit half-time, we've passed it by. Osu Grey still 1 goal behind, but not for long! Civil Pangolan stretches, can't reach it. B-Boys
A great reach for the goal here. Sideball touch can be dangerous to leave the ball hanging in midfield, but B-Boys make sure it's not left hanging for much longer than that. Just past the halfway mark, all square. It truly feels like these teams are in lockstep with one another, but we all know that decisive it factor has to come through for a team to succeed.
Football marks them already. Who's going to make the least mistakes? That was a big one, but an even bigger crime committed by Bacon. How did you not score from there? Of course, in competitive Rocket League, you know, as a good save has put up from Civil Pangolin, that the open nets are always the most difficult to score as we enter the final 2 minutes. That pressure's only going to ratchet up. Oh, so close to missing that one as well. CJ, he's the DJ on the dance floor.
Really trying their hardest to give the woodwork a bit more work to do, but CJ sends it far corner. The idea is there. Nobody from UC Berkeley can save that shot, despite how slow it enters the net. But Ohio State start to implement the high press here. Make UC Berkeley work for it. Don't give them those easy transitions. All of a sudden, it's starting to add up.
First go-ahead goal then for Osu Gray in this series. They've had to fight hard. They've had to fight from behind, but still Cal come forwards. Demo after the 100 boost pickup, going to be frustrating. Onwards, infield, unopposed. Shot on target and placed up high by Civil Pangolin. So much waiting, no one following. Another clearance downfield, but only one to chase. Disappointing from Berkeley, time running out.
Difficult for both teams, feeling like they want to apply the pressure, but just their mere presence isn't enough to shake everybody off the ball. CJ with a good chance for a double, but it's picked away, and that's a tough spot to put yourself in. You're demoed now. Your teammates had to spend resources just to get the ball back from where it was sent. Unfortunately, Ohio State find a solid enough clear for now. A good challenge from Danwad again. And here's this pressure implemented by Ohio State that they want to keep going, keep it consistent throughout the series. But another sidewall giveaway allows UC Berkeley to try and walk it back.
A long shot, playing a little fearful. Cal, Demo's not going to do much when the ball is still heading to your side of the pitch. Time running out that I mentioned earlier. Well, half of that's already elapsed. Heading up onto the backboard. No. Oh, actually, there is a follow-up. Bacon OG, and it's been a complete capitulation here in game number 1 for Cal.
Rewind it back to saying the team that makes the least amount of mistakes is going to come out on top, and it's starting to feel like that's where we're going. Again, still so early on, but at the same time, UC Berkeley need to find their identity on defense. It can't all be Albino Bonobo or Bacon, as we may know this player pulling all the strings. You need a solid, concerted effort, and right now, they've given themselves little to no chance of clawing this first game back.
Just haven't looked like scoring for a solid 2 minutes or so. We'll give credit where credit is due. Osu Gray has punished them at every step of the way. Good near post defense, that's a shot, and even though it's on target, CJ at that far post, ready to make the save. Filling out the administrative papers, metaphorically speaking, Osu Gray. Looking to put away maybe number 5. No, this one's going wide, but time has already beaten UC Berkeley on this occasion. 1-0 in the series. Osu Gray, nicely done.
Nice little tap down to secure it, and some more shenanigans towards the back corner, but it's a nice, neat game, which feels a little uncharacteristic to say that was nice and neat. It started off very scrappy. There were plenty of transition plays that didn't have the defensive resistance you would expect out of either of these teams. But Ohio State, I mean, as a school, those Buckeyes know how to win in various levels of competition. Here, it feels like they just have another step up to get to. Meanwhile, UC Berkeley, you rightly pointed out, they didn't look like they were keen to scoring, which, you know, point blank and period, that's how you win the game. But beyond that, the pressure that they were able to generate did not feel like it was on the level of Ohio State. And it's a concerning sign, not necessarily the end of the world here in game 1, but still something to look out.
Just felt like a turtle retreating into its shell a little bit, because it was completely different from the beginning of the game where, okay, admittedly they were riding their luck a little bit, Bacon with an incredible save to deny Osu Gray a certain goal. But you would have thought that having scored not just 1, but the 2 goals, twice to go ahead, that they would have taken that confidence and run with it, but they didn't. And there's a difference in me, at least to me, Galgan, where there's parking the bus and there's playing conservatively. Parking the bus means solid defensive structure, and I didn't see that from UC Berkeley. I just saw the latter.
I have to agree with you. There's a whole level of difference between inviting your opponent in and knowing that you simply are stronger to play that, you know, not lackadaisical, that's too harsh of a word, but play that slower play style and being forced to do so. So I think that's a core issue for UC Berkeley moving into the rest of the series is how much can they really stand behind their mechanical ability, their team sense, their rotation, all of these foundational ideas to what makes a solid Rocket League team, and know that they can be better at any sequence and executing certain plays than Ohio State. They need to convince themselves as quickly as possible.
We can always talk about the fresh slate mentality going into any new game of Rocket League, but it does all add up. The last game didn't just not happen, and UC Berkeley will have to make adjustments on the fly. Certainly had a little bit of an elongated break in between game 1 and 2, so I wonder what coach has been saying in the ears of the player, if anything at all. Civil Pangolin, oh my, almost one of the goals of the entire season, but again, a close shave, Galvin, so close and yet so far.
Still gonna watch themselves though. There were a couple of shot opportunities that went through once Civil Pangolin couldn't make it work, and that's why you quickly find the ball back here in the blue half. But UC Berkeley have done a decent job to at least delay it, although broken through now, and a quick shot on forces the double out of those Cal defenders. Civil Pangolin trying to run it back down Broadway, but CJ will catch and collect. Nice little pop here with low boost, using what little resources were in the tank to give Ohio State a bit more space, and they've really turned things around. As soon as Civil Pangolin got that chance, Ohio State have grabbed so much possession off of it.
Feels like there's some nerve damage in this team of UC Berkeley. It's not that they're not communicating. I think that's obvious that the calls are there, but as we can see, a little slow to react, and that slow reaction from a high press looking to turn around 180 and going to reverse has left them horribly exposed. Osu Gray take the lead.
You do start to wonder about the confidence level of players to a certain extent. Sometimes we see teams that are struggling to get things going rely on the one player who's feeling it a little bit more than the rest. As soon as they take their opportunity, maybe they miss, you follow up and you see what you can do. But that's where we get back into the idea of reactive play rather than proactive. You don't want to be sitting back waiting for whatever mistake your opponents might make on their own right. You got to be forcing it out of them, and UC Berkeley don't look that well equipped to be forcing anything out of Ohio State as they just continue to run amok.
B-Boys to CJ, backboard. Yeah, that one doesn't go for that one, but strong control over these mid-100 boost pads. Osu Gray not letting UC Berkeley off the proverbial hook. Another shot incoming off that backboard. Doc Swag with a hardly convincing touch. Back central, it's Bacon closed down by B-Boys. Pangolin has to readjust mid-air. Just feels like everything's off for Cal right now. Save put up by Doc Swaggy. Back into the center by CJ. Hello, is there a pulse?
The big point of contention as well, you bring up the midfield boost battle. That comes packaged, at least to me, with sidewall control. Ohio State are able to walk it down either side of the field, get it centered up, and it really does feel like a pace difference at this point. Albino Bonobo taps things to start, but it's immediately brought back. Can't get to the shot fast enough, B-Boys, and a nice deflection to stop Danwad. But there's CJ. A response is always there from Ohio State, Gray, and it looks pristine at this point.
Everybody looking to the skies, and CJ again just a lift up, setting up for CJ in the first place from Bacon, and all three players are there, but none of the three players can get a piece of the ball. Incredibly disappointing opening half from UC Berkeley, barely had a sniff, as was the case in the latter half of game number 1. Osu Gray felt like that second goal was an inevitability. Finally, a sign of a shot from Bacon, but it's saved away by CJ. Good to see that Osu Gray still alert and aware enough not to have that complacency show up early doors.
Stop Swag with enough work to do, enough on his plate at the sidewall. Civil Pangolin takes over responsibilities. Albino Bonobo gives it away at the top of the box and is fortunate enough that that ball carried wide. Here's CJ to follow. B-Boys was already there, cheating up for the ball. Grabs it off the side, no immediate shot, but more time taken off of the clock, trying to keep this ball out of blue hands as much as possible. As another challenge now to Albino Bonobo, but it's Danwad who picks it clean.
all too easy. Pickpocket, and Dan Wad steps in ahead of that defender. Bacon, Albino Babano, whatever you want to call him, if it is the same player at all. I tell you what, this performance would make a lot more sense to me, Galgan, if it wasn't Bacon. If this was a substitute situation. I ain't got any information to confirm that it is a substitute, but at this point, I hope it is, because this is way off pace for what we expect from UC Berkeley.
I think that explains a lot more than it hurts against UC Berkeley, but it still doesn't feel great. The pace difference, very evident. I mean, demolitions, we don't have a formal count on that, but I would place very, very strong faith in the fact that Ohio State are leading that category and then some. As we continue on, I mean, this game, you can start to chalk it up. Again, we were in the same spot for game number 1. UC Berkeley have not given themselves the chances to win this game. Now we've said that 2 times in a row. How quickly will this series end if we continue to have this mentality about Cal just simply not being able to take a game back into their control?
It's a good question, and I feel like it's a question that's going to be answered very soon indeed. They won. It was a great recovery from Osu Gray. They then really got into their stride. They got better as game 1 went on. Game 2, there has been barely anything to get excited for if you are a UC Berkeley fan. Complete domination from Osu Gray. The clean sheet, 3 goals. Maybe looking for a 4th as well, just to rub salt in the wounds. Not going to happen. Hits the ground. Rethink required for Cal.
This really starts to make me think about the point that we brought up a bit earlier about wanting to invite your competition in. Because if I am playing the role of an outsider here, just merely looking at the series score, and I'm seeing Ohio State up 2 to start the series off, I'm saying, okay, we saw Cal last week go 6 games in both of their series. It makes sense that they go the distance. Maybe they take some time to figure things out. Maybe they let a couple of plays slip through their grasp, and you start to explain it away that way. That game 2 is much more difficult to explain away for UC Berkeley because that same lack of offensive passion showed itself tenfold from game 1 to game 2, and that's something you cannot carry forward. Ohio State Gray are being met with the least amount of resistance necessary to make this, not a complete blowout.
Again, I don't want to go as far as to say it's lazy. It's dozy. It's a sleepy performance. It feels like they've turned up and almost expected their opponents to play as lethargically as they are going to. And that's just not how it flies. And now Osu, like a shark in the waters, smelled that blood there and they've gone for it. And that game 2 was as damning a performance, if you're a UC Berkeley fan, as I think we've seen from them in the 4 weeks now that we've been watching them. So again, I can maybe cut them a little bit of leeway if this isn't Bacon that we're talking about. But again, I have to reiterate, until we get official word, there is no other registered player under the Albino Babono tag. So I have to assume that it is Bacon that we're talking about. And if so, what happened in the last week? Was it an argument? Was it a pocket money issue? Like, I need answers.
Speculation is one thing. At any point, UC Berkeley, like the rest of us, must continue on and try and find a way to stop Ohio State. Because at this point, if they're pulling off passing plays like we just saw and happy to double commit at the top of the box, and it means they get another scoring chance, there's going to be struggles for pretty much any team that goes up against an Ohio State Gray that's playing as well on offense as this 3 are right now in front of me. Although I say that, it's a giveaway at the top of the box. Save there on the goal line from CJ is nice, but they've still got some work to do as this ball squeaks back out.
It's better though. That's what I wanted to see from UC Berkeley. And again, we can't lose sight of how well Osu Gray are playing. You're absolutely spot on the money there, Galgan. They are very much utilizing this proverbial break in the play, you could say, to really string together some beautiful passes and stick themselves in good positions to pick up on any mistakes from the UC Berkeley defensive side. Bacon, again, with an asterisk over that name, demo for the midfield line, and Docswag goes in for the challenge. Albino's a little bit slow to this one. B-Boy Central, look at CJ. Double commit, still manages to get a shot on target. Good reactions here from Docswag. Tries to put it over or under Dunwad, doesn't really work, but the demo in the midfield opens it up. Bacon, Albino, good shot, good save and away.
Great sequence. It's still centralized, and Docswag can rotate back around. Has enough boost to secure the flip reset. Gets it past one. Challenge past the second. Somebody at the top and takes the shot, but it's CJ again defensively. Pulls out a hairline save. Civil Pangolin tries to throw it back in, but UC Berkeley may have lost their push.
Lack of faith in the offensive line. Not a good look for the rotation either. That was a golden opportunity. You've simply got to be quicker than that. And right down from the other end, Osu Gray still a big old threat. And they're looking to set up shop, but not for too long. Big challenge from B-Boys, breaks through the line, but there's Docswag to clean up. CJ, top of the box, hits it. Again, into no man's land, really. No team establishing a concrete lead. Oh, on the bar. Surely in no again, Docswag. He's been incredible on the back line so far. The difference between a 1-0 Osu Gray and a 0-0 as it stands now.
Still sending it back and forth, left, right, over and over again. Go Ohio State past one. Challenge for the second, and the run from B-Boys a bit too late, but still gets it to go top corner and rings off the post, and CJ taps it home. Finally, the endless onslaught results in a goal.
Had to happen eventually. Bacon bullied. Lovely throw in. That should have been on target, really, but see, again, this is the difference. CJ alive to the situation. Drives to that far post, almost expecting a ricochet. It's a simple tap in. We see that sort of endeavor for the UC Berkeley chance earlier on, and that's 1-0 to the team in blue. It's not, and it doesn't look close still. Dunwad from the back, he's demoed, but that's a decent clearance right down the other side of the pitch. Mike, if that had been in Gaugan, my mouth would have been aghast.
Bit more pace on it, we're telling a much different story. There have been chances for UC Berkeley, but they still find themselves against this fantastic transitional pace of play from Ohio State. They consistently find these kinds of shots. Oh, the sequence falls short at the end. You can see that formulating the tap home, not there. Counter, non-existent for UC Berkeley. They've got 90 seconds to go. That had to be one of their better chances after everything was thrown at one quick shot. Now they finally get the ball to go here to Ohio State's back half, but Dunwad immediately pulls it clear.
Challenge game still a little bit murky for UC Berkeley. Unfortunately, it's a situation of going in head first and then banging that head against the brick wall. It seems Osu Gray just too strong right now, but it's still a recoverable game. With 60 seconds left on the clock, that one-goal lead is precarious at best. Osu Gray putting on their defensive construction hat, but what a brilliant ball! Unfortunate the dunk doesn't fall away of Albino / Bacon. There they are again, looking to chase this. Dunwad and him miss through the Malagos. Docswag looking to set up now. B-Boys backward. Great read.
If ever there was a must-win game in a series that did not result in a winner either way, it has to be this one for UC Berkeley. They've got 30 seconds. Docswag on the sidewall, dispossessed by CJ, who will have a challenge against Civil Pangolin, who's waiting on the back wall, tried to play for the save, and it was the right call, but it's slower to clear away. Handed right back, shot underneath. Civil Pangolin with another save. Docswag, no boost, no help. Another one to the near post. Civil Pangolin again takes it aside. They've pulled miracles off here on defense, and Albino Bonobo, no block, open net. They threw everything but the kitchen sink, and it came right back.
They really had to go for it, though. This might look egregious from an opposition perspective, because it was. But the Hail Mary required, they put full faith in Bonobo to go and win that challenge as soon as they did it. That's the end of the game. No chance, no hope. Better efforts, but still no joy. It's a 3-0 game-winning streak here for Osu Gray. One away from 25 points at least.
And you try your best, but you don't succeed. That's what that game 3 feels like to me. Yes. It's sad. It truly is. And I speak in that sad tone as if this series is over. It's not. You know, best of 7 reverse sweeps are possible. Whether or not it's possible here, yet to be seen. But I think you and I can both take away that this, even, I mean, considering game one, the fact that that ends, 4-2, I think this third game, despite not seeing UC Berkeley score, and they have yet to shake that off, by the way, it's been over 10 minutes now without a goal from the boys in blue. At the same time, I have faith in them to get it done because we've seen the signs, we've seen the pieces in the general area just not quite fit together at this stage. And if that, defensive scramble of a sequence with miraculous saves happens 30 seconds earlier, then maybe we get 1 or 2 shots for UC Berkeley to try and tie things up at the end. But they just threw everything they could at trying to get that ball clear. It is a true sign of desperation. Desperate times call for desperate measures, but no time more desperate than right now with 4 match points against them.
Well, if they do end up losing in a sweep fashion, Cal, they're going to be joining good company. Bowling Green State losing 4-0 to the University of New Haven. The Chargers moving on into the semi-finals. Sorry, the semi-finals then. Wait, yes, quarterfinals. There we go. My goodness, it's almost as if I don't know how brackets work. I do know how series work, however, and if Osu Grey do find the W in this one, it means that they're going to be joining New Haven in that particular round. I'm not sure who their opponents will be. The bracket doesn't reveal all as of yet. But UC Berkeley, it is now or never, and they've got to try and find a way to, first of all, avoid these incredible quality demos that Osu Grey are putting down on the field, Galvin. Case in point, wonderful aggressive demo at the midfield, opens up that back line beautifully. B-Boys puts it away. Not the start that Cal were looking for.
At the same time, I'm running out of fingers to count the number of plays off the sidewall from Ohio State that have resulted in a strong scoring chance. Like, obviously, there's very few things that UC Berkeley could do in that sequence to stop that particular goal that we just saw. But every single time someone's coming down the sidewall, they're trying to pass to someone who's already cheating up in the midfield. They're taking their own shot. So many things that Ohio State have been able to pull off from those side angles where you teach teams fundamentally in many sports, but Rocket League as well, that the center is where you want to be taking your shots from. Although here, in this particular series, if you can send an odd angle one in and it's on target well enough for Ohio State, they have found very strong amounts of success with that. You can't fix what isn't broken.
The planning phase, the setup phase, meticulous by Osu Grey. So meticulous, you might mistake it for a bank heist, but I tell you what, Galgan, they're not the robbers, but the bank themselves, and they are not giving anything away for free today. Dunwad, again, too strong in this 50 challenge, doubles the lead.
I talked about parking the bus earlier. That is straight up throwing an entire bus at your opponent with Herculean strength. That is sitting yourself at the middle of the field saying, I'm him, and barreling through. Some level of mentality for UC Berkeley is just being broken down and down. The further they go without a goal, they get these chances lined up, but they can't jump through.
Again, their follow-up game is so poor, UC Berkeley, in this series, that you've got to be on that to follow up, because you have to expect that the keeper's going to make the initial save. What do you do thereafter? Not even one step ahead, they're just one step behind. Free demo for Dunwad. CJ goes up against Doc Swag. Fair play. Wins that challenge. Gives them a bit of breathing room. B-Boys back to the back door, but completely uncontested. Allowed to transition back out to the halfway line for free. Good rotation round here for Bacon, and Golan lifts it up. But what's Bacon going to do now? No boost out to play, and it goes over the top of him.
It was one of the more free opportunities for UC Berkeley as well, and now they're immediately brought back. They've got to watch the few moments that Ohio State do throw the ball up the sidewall and don't have the follow. They're just chasing, trying to make something happen. But because Ohio State is winning the pace battle so handily, UC Berkeley don't react fast enough, and you get chances like this where everybody's flying every which way. Swag takes it from the crossbar to delay the follow-up shot that B-Boys wanted to take, but there's the center pass, and it's all starting to fall apart.
That was desperation with a capital D from Civil Pangolin. Just throws themselves, and B-Boys has them eating out the palm of their hand. Speaking of, serves up a mighty meal to CJ, who gobbles up that opportunity. It's 3-0. Sweep likelier by the second.
multiple goals every single game for Ohio State, coming up on over 13 minutes of scoreless play for UC Berkeley. Time and time again, they get the faintest whiff at the net, and they are not willing to make that final jump, that final stretch. This is one of the most free opportunities all series long. It's a passing play, 1-2-1, and Civil Pangolin recovers a shaky sequence to get UC Berkeley on.
You know, Civil Pangolin could have just shot that at the net and scored, but okay, I guess we're going to go the long way around. If that doesn't speak volumes of where UC Berkeley are at in their headspace, I don't know what is, because they made a meal out of that almost. I'm glad that they scored. I'm glad that they've ended the drought, but there's a long, long way to go from here, guys, before we can speak about equalizer territory.
Series is still done if they can't get it done in under 2 minutes. Albino Bonobo attempting another center here on the near post. Civil Pangolin goes midfield, and Dockswise waiting in the right spot, but Civil Pangolin takes away the double. You have to give credit. You would think Ohio State would save it away on their own right, but at any rate, they take it back here. Nice challenge from Civil Pangolin early. You can tell the early defensive jumps are something that Pangolin want to be doing here, but at the same time, how much risk are you willing to throw into the hat of chance here before you really have to throw everything else along with it, as now in transition off the post, and it's misread.
Completely misread. When you see that you're 2v1, you've got to go for where they're passing the ball to, because it's clear as day that they're not going to go for the shot. Oh, Doc Swag needed some specs on, but even with the glass half full, you got to say that UC Berkeley haven't really, or rather they have deserved what has come their way pretty much since the second half of game number 1. Just 60 seconds left. That's 1 goal per 20 seconds. And they still can't find a way through here.
The challenge up high, seconds ticking away now to 50. Passed down to Civil Pangolin, picked off by CJ. Rotation from Denwan, misses, and somehow B-Boys taps it home. I'm starting to think that nothing can go the way of UC Berkeley, even in the chances where they get the ball halfway in the net. The force of Ohio State Gray that they are bringing to this field, to this series, and to this weekend of play feels a little too strong.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's the tattered bow on top of the very, very overdone cake that's just come fresh out the oven and straight into the garbage bin. UC Berkeley, again, whether they were down one of their regular players or not, you expect a certain level from Rally Cry Collegiate Series players, especially in the round of 16. This weren't its sheep, and Osu Gray have locked in 15 more points than they've already earned today. They find themselves in the quarterfinals with aplomb.
Fantastic showing for Ohio State Gray here. 4-0 result. That is a high impact series that we were talking about before. Very important for both of these teams who are running in similar circles to separate themselves from the field. And Ohio State Gray, the job's not done. They'll continue on. We can confirm that they will be going up against the #1 seed in this weekend's play, which happens to be Southern Miss Coca-Cola. So that series is coming up for them shortly. But as far as this one is concerned, Cal came into this with a 5-point lead. That lead is gone. They'll sit on 25 permanently and see how low it takes them. There's a little bit of a cushion beneath them. And again, we'll talk long-term standings once the table finalizes a bit more. But at the end of the day, this is a very confident result for Ohio State Gray. If they continue this level of play into the rest of this tournament, into the playoffs, you'll start to think about what kind of names they could take, because I really, really like what I saw from their offense.
I agree, and actually that demo game which I referenced earlier, I think that was a real difference maker between the two teams. The quality of demos in that midfield and final third for Osu Gray were fantastic. On the opposite side, I don't think I can count one time where UC Berkeley even got a successful bump, nor did they really endeavor to go for those sorts of plays. It all ended up in a neat little sad package, unfortunately, for UC Berkeley. But as you say, they are into the playoffs, and they now got a week to figure out those problems. But thankfully for us, not too much of a break before our next set of action. We're heading into the quarterfinals. We hope to see you there after this. And when we do, more action on the way. Oh, no. Oh, replays. Oh, my goodness, yeah. Replays. I forgot about the replays, everyone. I apologize.
Yeah, we've got to check out some of the action that happened here. And just kind of reminisce in what this series was. I truly think, I mean, I don't know, as much as we can say this didn't feel like the caliber of play that Cal needed to show up to this weekend with, that's understandable, and they're surely going to feel hard done by it. But at the same time, so much of the pressure from Ohio State, Ray, you could tell that it was just bearing down, not just on Cal, but on anybody who would be on the other side of it, on the receiving end. The control on the sidewalls, the passing lanes they already had set up before the ball would cross the midfield line, that level of offensive efficiency is something that you really desire from a top team.
I agree. And to be fair, that efficiency only got greater as the series went on as well. And I think that plays into the declining confidence of UC Berkeley, where they're leaving more open spaces, they're going for more desperate plays, nothing seems to be going for them. But when you're down in your luck, sometimes you got to make it yourself. And you know, this really goes into the deep and dark waters of the mental game of Rocket League, which can be rough at best, debatable at worst. Some players like to trash talk, some players just like to keep quiet, and quiet really is the best way that I can describe this UC Berkeley performance. Unfortunately, they weren't loud in many respects. Some fantastic individual performances, but sadly, all of those individual performances were on the defensive side of things, Galgan, and when it's that one player turning up and no one else, the talent's going to run out eventually.
Yeah, I think what we're looking at here tells you everything you need to know. More saves than shots taken for UC Berkeley, and on the contrast, 48 shots on target. You look at that and you go 13 for 48. That's not really that amazing, but you realize the impact that has on UC Berkeley. They have to play so much defense that they're simply not allowed to get anything going on their end, and that is the takeaway point here. UC Berkeley, they just can't get the engines ignited in time. It's a sweep. Ohio State Gray, they advance. Yes, a tough test against Southern Miss Coca-Cola coming up here in the quarterfinals of this bracket, but at the end of the day, they've proven themselves. We already know that they're in the top 16. The rest is just for brownie points.
Such a lovely bit of analysis by you, but now I'm feeling a bit of deja vu. Apparently, I'm going to be sending it to a break, and I think that's what's going to be happening. And I feel like on the other side of that break, we might just have a quarterfinal. Let's find out together, shall we?
We get how uncertain the future is. We've come of age in a complex world, face to face with problems we didn't create. So what's gonna happen next? We are. Because our future is the future. The life we have chosen has prepared us for this. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day. We're gonna save families from disasters and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more because we have an appointment with destiny. We invite you to join us. The next greatest generation is now. how uncertain the future is. We've come of age in a complex world, face to face with problems we didn't create. So what's going to happen next? We are. Because our future is the future. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more because we have an appointment with destiny.
Our generation has a choice. Turn away from the world's problems or chase them down. We refuse to sit back and watch them pass us by. Watch us fly ahead. Rise to every challenge and overcome anything. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Rally Cry Collegiate Series for Rocket League, presented by the Army National Guard. First round is in the books, and the quarterfinals wait in the wings. We are getting ready to show you just that. My name is Galgan. Alongside me, Relic. You know us well by now. We've been doing this for quite some time, and we're getting close, Relic, to that playoff bracket. Teams trying to lock their spots in, but now we head to the quarterfinals of Week 4 for a matchup between two teams that have shown up for all 4 brackets, so my kudos to both of them. They have unfortunately not met each other yet, but that all changes today. Terps Esports, by virtue of beating Southern Miss Gold, will go up against UT Dallas. Those Comets, those fantastic Comets, trying to make another run of it here in Week 4.
I gotta say, UT Dallas logo, probably one of my favorites in the entire competition. No bias, I promise, but I do love that classic 60s US styling. I also love UT Dallas as a team in general, of course. Top of the pops as it stands right now, top of the points as well, most crucially, going into today, after accruing a number of increasingly convincing results through bracket play. Not able to win last time out, of course, by virtue of not turning up on the Sunday. Do we consider them a top echelon team? Maybe. Maybe they're just underneath that sort of area. But I think that University of Maryland, Terps, this is a great test to once again see whether our thoughts about them are correct. Terps sitting in that sort of chasing pack behind your Boise's, behind your OCs, and they themselves will be wanting to try and go all the way here in week number 4, because 100 points could mean the difference between a very easy opening match against maybe the likes of Thomas College or Southern Miss Gold, who have just sneaked in today but were unable to make it to the quarterfinal stage, or indeed Glory, Misery, a tougher match, you could say, in the midfield. And speaking of, well, we've already kicked off Galgan. Let's get things going.
Very important to see how both of these teams shake out. UT Dallas with a lot to prove to see if they are the cream of the crop here in the Rally Cry Collegiate Series. Meanwhile, Terps Esports, they want to do right by themselves after what happened last weekend. We saw a couple of teams missing on Sunday. Terps showed up to play their semifinal as scheduled against the Drexel Dragons and dropped it in 7. A bit of vindication on their end would not be a sight for sore eyes, but rather a step up here for Terps Esports to prove that they can bring it to the heaviest of hitters in this bracket.
Terps Esports quite notable actually for their 4-man rotation. Is it Carsten Turtle? Is it not? Again, answers on a postcard please, but they're going to be starting with him, JD Knight, and Boog on the back line. Boog, who we felt was most certainly missed. Their defensive presence certainly going to be welcome on this occasion, but my goodness, their defensive presence ain't going to mean nothing when Dalton puts away a banger like this one.
Yep, there's, when you've got players moving as well as they do for UT Dallas, I mean, there are so many sequences in this game where you just know there's never a shadow of a doubt the player is going to score or going to at least make the shot as strong as they can. UT Dallas just tends to have more of those opportunities than most teams, and I think that's what sets them apart, what allows them to provide show-stopping moments and bring themselves back from deficits. But if they start out hot on the trot here against Terps Esports, whole different story. It really becomes a bit of a strong defense needed from UT Dallas to show exactly why they deserve that stature.
Great save, Hexy, but double commit limits the counter-attacking opportunities. Dalton goes far to Dez, hits that corner. Turtle sends it straight back at you. Dalton, it's a tennis match, it seems like. JD Knight actually holds up well at the midfield line. Hexy goes forward, both defensively and offensively, in my mind at least. Maryland's best player, no doubt in that. JD Knight, good to see him battling away in that midfield. Again, some crucial interceptions and touches, but UT Dallas was with enough punch themselves to keep things locked at a head, it seems. 3 minutes to go.
It threw me off a little bit here, just for a moment. I just want to point out, Boog is not currently on the field. This is, I believe, if we've got Dez and Dalton, this is Luby, right? We had the same situation go on with UT Dallas earlier on, because Boog is the fourth for Terps Esports, so
Boog was definitely on the field though.
The Terps Esports players are Hexy, JD Knight, Turtle.
Yeah,
so
I feel like I've seen a ghost. I saw Boog's name on Terps. I am like, I'm slightly doubting myself now. 99% sure. I don't know whether there was like a late substitution or something because of the players. You know what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What does matter is the goals. Luby has scored a second and very well deserved. UT Dallas should be far more clinical in front of net.
I'm not sure. Might be in the lobby, might be spectating, might be doing whatever. I was a bit thrown off as well. You know what wouldn't throw me off? If Zora comes in for UT Dallas to score 30 goals. Let's revive this bit, shall we? That Zora is actually carrying UT Dallas this entire time, and it's all by their design. But at the same time, to reel things in, I do think this is UT Dallas' series to lose. I think that all 4 of the top 4 seeds heading into this bracket should win their quarterfinal. But hey, Terps have done some pretty surprising things when they've crossed our path earlier on in this event. Who's to say they can't make some magic happen here?
Top out on, see, let's see whether they can pull a rabbit out, shall we? But every single challenge that attempts to generate some forward momentum for Terps is snubbed quite successfully. Hexy though, lovely dunk. Unfortunately for him, the ball falls tragically wide. Less than 90 seconds now to get 1 goal, any goal, just to get themselves on the board, just to stick their foot in the ground. How many other cliches can I throw in there? Well, JD Knight don't need any cliche. Ka-chow! There's the first.
Throw the ball towards the net. It'll find its way eventually. JD Knight, good jump off the sideball and a nice tap against just ever so slightly throws off the calculations of anybody trying to jump to save it. And we do get Terps Esports on the board. Good that we don't see a shutout early on. Both of these teams know that they have it. Got to convince themselves early on as Turtle tries to sneak one off the kickoff.
Des does really well there to read the play. So easy to launch yourself at the play early on and try and generate an early 50. Doesn't, actually holds off and makes a crucial interception. Otherwise, Terps are going to have a beat. Speaking of, another challenge that is towards net. Terps can only throw it into the midfield. It's rather unaimed, but Dalton dallies about a little too long. Here's Dez again. His name keeps on cropping up. Shot up and away. Double commit. Turtle. Can he generate something here? Hexy. Oh, it's got to be on target, and it is. Double tap. Patience sublime. 2-2.
Great work there. UT Dallas, sure, by the design of the play, they take themselves out of the equation, but Hexy gives them front row seats to their own demise, and they tie things up with 36 to go. A great late comeback here.
Combative personality from University of Maryland, taking that lying down. 30 seconds, OT on the horizon, and Dalton, you can tell, playing with a little bit more anger, a little bit more venom now, but Terps shuffle this out of their back half pretty successfully. Dalton rides one challenge, oh, but doesn't ride the second! Turtle sliding in with a third! The tables turned!
Pure elation on one end, utter despair on the other. For UT Dallas, this is not how you want to drop game 1 after having so much control, or at least You thought that you did. One errant challenge goes to an open backline, and all of a sudden the script is flipped. But here goes Luby to try and take it right back. Quick touch to the back wall. It goes for a shot. Again to the back. Here's Dalton to jump. Tries for a flip reset. Sends it to the side. Dez and Luby cannot get there in time. Time ticking down. Dalton one last jump. Has to center this up. Goes for a second touch to the corner and a third if it's possible. Luby, collision there. Still popped up to the top. Dez keeps it alive. Luby to recycle back in and somebody to punch it down. And Terps Esports take the game.
Wow. How about that for an opener? My word. And the fact that Dalton almost did that, we all know what he was trying to do. The fact that he almost did that, where was that earlier on when you were looking to stick this game in the ground with your flag jutting up out of it saying, hi, we're here to stay and we're here to win? I don't know how to feel about that because UT Dallas, as you say, they were the better team. But I would also only say marginally so. They looked way better in their final third, but midfield, I thought Terps were doing pretty well. It was only a matter of time before they scored, but once they got their first goal, my goodness, they grabbed the proverbial bull by the horns and rode it into town, got the milk, came back, bon appetit.
And that's the thing about Terps Esports. In this particular series, I don't think the opportunities are going to be that hard to come by, largely because of how UT Dallas plays and what their play style feels like. At least to me, when I watch this team, I understand that mechanically, they can pull out whatever wonder play they need to at any given moment, but at a certain point, you need the setup to go right. And if UT Dallas is going to spend so much time in that setup phase, all it takes is Terps Esports to play a little more aggressively, go for a demo, try and disrupt that setup before it happens. And despite the fact that UT Dallas can game plan that far away from the shot that they want to be the goal, they find themselves robbed of the ball before the setup begins, and then Terps Esports walk it back. So that level of proactive play from the University of Maryland is key to winning this series.
They're telegraphing their preparation a little too obviously to Terps Esports. And again, that's where we have to say Terps Esports, well done. Also, hey, remember when Dalton didn't win that challenge and it lost them the game? How about this?
Yeah, some self-righteous, just, you know, take the ball, say, I am simply better, nice angle, into the back. Nobody from Terps Esports is really expecting it to squeeze out that way, but nobody reasonably would expect the ball to squeeze out that way. So it's a quick first one for UT Dallas that I think both teams will move on from fairly quickly, especially Terps, who set up a nice little demo to the backboard there, but didn't quite get the finisher. Nobody at the top of the box. Again, playing with expectations. Where are you trying to set this ball up for success?
It's got a 5-star review, but come on, what's the directing like? What's the acting like? Is it a classic or a cult classic? Reviews in shortly, I imagine. Dalton, Bosco backboard. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. Terps Esports, how not to score a goal. 101. Luby goes down the other end of the field, gets demoed out of his existence. Here's Dalton again. Tries to go around Hex. He does so, but JD Knight throws in midfield.
Sometimes the ball just eludes you as a player. You know, it happens. Meanwhile, it's certainly not happening for UT Dallas. What a redirect that just carries wide. Dalton just circling around, trying to wait for the one touch out, and there it is,
no.
But it's completely picked apart. Dalton waited too long.
Not just that, but like, just hit it to the corner, dude. I mean, that was... I don't want to be too harsh. That was shambolic defending. You're asking for it. You're the third man. There's nobody who's actually got eyes, got vision on what's happening behind you. Only you can do that. And if you're having to put that right thumbstick down to look at what's behind you, you're already doing something wrong.
It's a real problem when Terps Esports can make this seem as though UT Dallas's confidence becomes overconfidence. They think they are stronger than Terps Esports will allow them to be. Whether or not that remains the issue as this series continues on lies pretty much solely in the hands of Terps Esports. How aggressive do they want to play? How much do they want to make UT Dallas second guess these chances and go for a more fundamental style of rotation? Because when UT Dallas feel comfortable, they play their own brand of Rocket League, and they play it to a T. Terps Esports, though, as soon as they start showing that level of resistance, that level of gumption on the offensive plays, the whole script gets thrown out.
JD Knight leaves it. And gets his knickers in and just didn't know what he wanted to do with the ball. But the timing did, it's too late. No, it's not. On the latest episode of That's Just Dalton, live on ABC, or whatever, listen, we're not sponsored. He misses that, but keeps it alive. Luby gets that second go-ahead goal. We're almost at halftime. What even is this series, Calvin?
Honestly, now that I think about it, DFH works as a pretty good call sign. No 3 letters. It's memorable. It's easy to say. So live on DFH, the UT Dallas show featuring Dalton doing Dalton things, and Luby doing Luby things, and Dez doing Dez things. It's the prime trademark, the stamp on a series from UT Dallas. It's just anytime you count them out, you think, oh, this might be the test that really rattles this team. Something gets pulled out of the hat, and UT Dallas all of a sudden are back in the lead.
Throws it downfield, looking to change that statement very quickly. They want to find themselves back on parity. Not on this drive anyway. Downfield, it's Dez. Demo on Luby. Counter-attack very much comes to a halt before it's even begun. Dalton goes for the chase. And Turtle sure does something, as does Dez. Both ran out of boost into the midfield. Luby, that shot was well wide. Hexy, Luby down in the corner. I'm just calling plays Galgan. There is no direction here.
There are certainly some of the sequences I've ever seen. I think both teams trying to find their footing. Oh dear, what happened? Another defensive giveaway from the corner. Hexy just with a high press. Luby doesn't know where to go, and what a pinch.
I wish I had something intelligent to say, but literally the last minute and a half has lacked so much intelligence. I feel like we're still searching for the one brain cell. Backboard spikes up a little bit too much for Dalton here. Forced back into the retreat as Luby got no boost to work with. There's a little too far forward, but does win the 50/2. Luby, backboard, no second touch, follow up. Dalton, no great touch by JD Knight. The disruption play buys him a little bit more time. Goes central again. Hexy registers a save. Turtle still can't get a piece of it. Throws it downfield, but that's going to be the end of that.
It's tough though. They had Terps Esports pinned in the corner and the rotation broke it up. They both were out of sync with each other, going off towards the midfield boost. It might come right back at them. Turtle rings the top corner on a shot from midfield. Now Luby once more for UT Dallas, but Dez and Dalton are fighting each other for the ball, and it's Dalton to win that argument. But with 45 to play, this transition gets stronger for Terps Esports if they can continue to corral it.
And Rocket League becomes the Tower of Babel. No communication, or rather garbled communication. Nobody can understand what anyone else is doing. Another shot downfield, but that was easily saved by Turtle, but it doesn't have much forward momentum here. Dez straight to Hexy. Got no boost to work with either, but still manages to keep it locked to the corner. Do they know Terps Esports? Turtle out from the back now. Little boost to generate something. Tries to go for the dunk. Does get a piece of it, wins the challenge, but loses out. JD Knight now had a good opportunity there, but went high yet again. Maybe direct shots should be the play of the day. Certainly Terps Esports are ending this particular game the stronger of the two teams, looking for a dump found. Round the corner, that's the direct shot that they were looking for! Oh, they ask! Oh, sorry, I ask! They receive, or do they do? That's a beat to Terps 2-0 in the series.
I am completely dumbfounded at what I am watching right now. University of Maryland keep it 2 in a row, both 3-2, both late leading goals. We've got to get some originality in the scoreline here, but beyond that, I am struggling to find where UT Dallas's struggle is. Not to be repetitive there, but so many of these sequences feel like they should be coming out on top, and yet we've seen double commits, we've seen stretching for the ball, they've let the possessions slip through, and Terps Esports have had some solid clears into 3 or 4 shots at a time. So it feels standard, if not a little bit more favored towards Terps Esports now, but these have been close games. It just feels very uncharacteristic right now for Dallas.
This feels like a lazy performance. Exemplified by that Dez Dalton double commit, where both of them are trying to latch onto a ball, trying to create a shooting opportunity, passing opportunity, anything, and they just don't because two attacking players are immediately not able to make any sort of influence on the backline. Didn't see many demos, didn't see many bump plays. It just feels like three individuals who have never met playing with each other. It feels like solo standard ranked. And that's crazy because UT Dallas has been one of the best synergizing teams that we've seen in the Rallycry Collegiate series.
But again, let's flip this the other way and look at Terps Esports. Both of these teams, them and UT Dallas, have appeared in all 4 brackets for the closed qualifiers here. So Maryland has certainly gotten their reps in as a team, despite all the roster changes they've had. But if anything is secure and resolute in this series, it's UT Dallas right off the opening kickoff trying to make a statement.
Hey, and look, all 3 players involved, they're not trying to walk through the same door as each other. It's a wonderful individual bit of play from Dez, set up from Dalton, put away by Luby. That's the UT Dallas that we have come to expect every single week. Where was it? And I guess perhaps the more worrying question, Galgan, is where might it go from here?
I'm right there with you. As the time goes on, it feels like Terps Esports only gets stronger, and yeah, like this, it's hard to describe something like this because it's a sequence that shouldn't really be happening. Terps Esports, they grab the goal. It's a good jump high up into the corner to get the sequence started, but so much feels like it needs to be happening differently for UT Dallas to stop something like that in the first place. And yet they're almost inviting the challenge in as if they want these games to be close, just trying to toy with their prey, but they're already 2 games down.
Dez has literally either been a 10 or a 2. You have to question what on earth he was doing for the Terps goal. Just, it feels like he was called off way too late or just lacked the confidence to full send, at least you're full sending and failing whilst trying to do something rather than going half-half on it. And then he does that off the kickoff, arguably twice, since it was in his initial effort that set up the opening UT Dallas goal. I really hope that they're not planning to live or die on Dez's performances so far, or from here on out, I should say, because it's volatile. That's the word I can use to describe it. It's volatile, but the rest has to be said of UT Dallas in general. It just feels so jagged on the graph. We need to see something a little more smooth.
Oh, but that's a big double
up,
and Dez, you have to bury that shot. We are just past the 1 minute mark, and they've speedran getting back to this 2-1 lead against Terps Esports. But are we headed to the same destination? Luby has to use the post to get the ball clear. Now sends it far side for a shot on target because, of course, that's what has to happen in this series. And now 2 commit to the top corner, and it's saved away. I've lost it. I think I've lost it.
Like when I'm most exasperated, you can hear the of me hitting my desk. I've done that 3 times in this game already, and they're going to lose another. No, they're not. What is Dez in this game? Seriously, what is Dez in this game? He's either cracked or he's an absentee from class. 3 minutes left. UT Dallas still lead, even if they were to get a 3rd goal, which they don't have. I feel like that's still nowhere near enough safety.
This level of almost scoring but not, and then almost getting scored on but having a miraculous save feels like it can only be replicated by people trying to get a very specific opponent in the playoff bracket after a Swiss stage.
Oh, wow,
but at the same but I feel like I'm getting away from the point here that this still is a level of play from Terps Esports that looks really solid for them. They've kept all these games close. They've kept UT Dallas at bay, despite the fact that mechanically they're still stepping up here. Just feels like all that's needed is the tiniest bit of accuracy to score, and yet nothing seems to go their way.
Remember, kids, the format is not the problem. You are. 2 minutes left. UT Dallas still lead for how much longer? Oh, no way! There is just no possibility, no universe in which that doesn't go in right down the other side.
No.
That's very complicated. What is happening?
I think we're being pranked. I think we're being set up. Like, they just genuinely, I know it's kind of cringe to talk about commentators, you know, being proven wrong or players listening to commentators, but I genuinely think we're being set up here. These teams are just doing everything in their power.
It's unreal.
To get literally, like, it's not even at the doorstep. They are 99% of the way in the door, and yet they still get it slammed.
Absolutely as well. What a save, by the way. Should never have been making a save, but what a save, by the way. The setup, it's gone.
No.
There is actually, I am questioning my entire existence right now. I'm questioning my entire existence. 60 seconds left. How the score is still 2-1 is beyond any level of comprehension I have for this mortal coil.
This has to be the funniest game of Rocket League I've ever seen, and in the most professional sense, it's tough for both of these teams because they're getting oh so close every single time. Tough defensive play here for UT Dallas. Gotta see your way out. You're making a lot of touches that you don't want to, so here goes JD Knight from the corner and has to get a second touch as Turtles beat on the challenge, but Hexy's just waiting for the pushback from UT Dallas that they can't get. Again, forced to the sideball. They don't want to be there. Luby blocked the side. Forward for Hexy, who's cheating up. Now Turtle commits. Everybody finally breaks down the barriers, and we're tied.
It's truly beyond belief. JD Knight actually does get a crucial action in this play, forcing Dalton into the flip, misplacing him for that shot, which eventually sees Terps Esports tie things up. And you just know that they're now going to win the game, Galvin, because why wouldn't they?
If this ends 3-2 for Terps Esports, I'm losing it. I might have to just, oh no, we've got a chance. There's no way. I should have known better. If there was a chance, it wasn't going to get scored. 10 seconds to go. JD Knight down to Hexy in the corner. Turtle center waiting for this ball, and it's not going to get there. So UT Dallas one more chance if they can try and pry possession away. Luby to the sidewall, trying to win the race, and does it. Set down quickly, but overtime at 2-2. We get a 3-2 result, but can UT Dallas claw their way back in?
Well, that's certainly a good kickoff for Terps Esports, forces them into retreat. Important interception from Dez, who follows up nicely. Far corner, Hexy going to pick up this 100. No, he's not going to leave it, and it's been stolen away by Dez, I believe. Hexy on that backboard. Good thing he did rotate back through. Missed touch from Dez. Luby goes top beans. Turtle saves. Hexy goes back into the corner. Dalton watching brief over the top of him. Hexy, Turtle spikes up, down and around. Luby calls off Dalton, who's desperate to get involved, but simply can't right now. Here he is finally. Shot goes wide.
Another redirect off the back wall, and that line, JD Knight and Turtle both rotate up quickly, so Hexy's alone on the island for now, but makes the early challenge 2-on-2. Dalton to jump and deny it from that midfield line. JD Knight with a good challenge, however, and takes it away from Hexy. Luby with a save. Hexy's still lurking around that side, and Terps Esports are trying to provide a strong stance here, but they're forced to give the ball up to Dalton, who wants nothing more than to bury this bone and get this game on UT Dallas's side, but JD Knight gets a forward pass to the corner over to Dalton again, who's ready to receive and send it right back.
That's lovely work from Dalton. Nice and calm. Goes central, and Luby wasn't willing to commit. Watching, but not actioning. Oh my goodness, I'm legitimately actively losing brain cells right now. Out from the back, it's Hexy. Dez, third man. Important interception here for Terps Esports. Dalton with a 180 to Dez, keeping it short and sweet. Interchange. JD Knight with the disruption. Dez backboard, but it's not going to get much further than this. JD Knight, it's Luby over the top of him. 23 boost, pulls out of it. Dalton on target. Hexy saves.
There's still a struggling lack of control there for UT Dallas on the offense, despite the fact that Terps Esports got so stretched out. Turtle now flubs the touch to the back wall, so that gives Dalton plenty of space, and they certainly have all the time in the world to set this one up in the corner. No boost to help the sequence, but still plays the challenge well. Has everybody gone? Luby rings the top corner. Dez finally breaks the curse for UT Dallas.
Dalton, MVP. The calm box-to-box plays made this UT Dallas victory. They had to work their socks off because they were playing themselves, Galgan. Like, I know we're sort of half memeing on a decision elsewhere in the Rocket League scene, which was absolutely fully deserved. but you could see that UT Dallas were trying their very best, and it wouldn't fall for them. Nothing that they did seemed to work, literally hitting their head against the brick wall until they finally found a crack and broke through. Gotta commend them on the perseverance.
Absolutely. That wasn't that wasn't playing on a PC with 5 frames per second and playing on a laptop, and that was a genuine effort from UT Dallas. And I love to watch the replay back from that particular game because, I'm with you. I was losing brain cells. It felt like one of those. I don't know how else to describe it. Like one of those videos with an insane payoff, like towards the end, that gives you that gratification, but as soon as you get to that area, like goes to the next video and you're like, oh well, okay, what did I spend all this time watching this for? But at the end of the day, for UT Dallas, so much to enjoy about what happened there from Dalton. You're right to point out, just trying to stay calm, cool, collected, be that guiding force, take the ball into control, and do whatever needs to get done with it. Meanwhile, Terps Esports, I think they started to smell the roses a bit and understand that they can really try and press this advantage. It took them so long just to get the game tied. They win this OT, they get 4 match points. Now we get into a really lengthy fight between these two teams.
Yeah. I'm slightly concerned about Terps Esports from here on out. I am hoping that I'm proven wrong. Should have scored the first time round. They do score the second time round. My point being, UT Dallas, I think on an individual mechanical level, have 3 better players than Terps Esports, but they're also playing like this. And so Terps Esports, to get this early goal on the board, for me, is a huge signal of intent. Okay, they lost that last game, but that's going to be the anomaly, at least in their minds going forward.
No one can best the power of friendship in my heart, and I mean, UT Dallas can prove me wrong, or maybe they have even stronger power of friendship present here. 4:37. We're tied up as if nothing ever happened. Luby off the sidewall, Dez right to Dalton, back to Luby. It's picturesque.
And I really appreciate that final touch from Luby as well, because uninterrupted, that's actually saved the way. So, this is one of those rare moments where a goal secure is absolutely 100% justified. And now Dalton, look at that second, what a great initial fake. Hexy sees through the facade and manages to save the follow-up effort. Luby waiting for Dez. Hits up to the sky, the pop-up, and look at Dez going with the chase of Turtle. Look at that pinch onto the floor, actually sets it up, but by that point, Terps had already gotten back into the positions that they required of them. Dalton, round the world, throws it to midfield. This is lovely, this is beautiful. Oh, Dez just missing that final application.
You really want that payoff there too. Turtle with the early jump missed, and that allowed that sequence to come to fruition. They'd be 1 defender down if they could just find it, but the question now rests with Maryland. How are they going to settle in now that UT Dallas seem to have unlocked a higher gear? The game is still tied. Nothing is set in stone just yet, but it feels like you've got a different air about it, because rather than the near misses and teammate saves, plenty of these shots are ending up on target for UT Dallas. Terps Esports are certainly a capable defense, but how long can they keep it up?
Lots of thieving from UT Dallas as well, picking up the 100 boosts in enemy territory. Turtle, JD Knight, that's fortuitous. Backboard, so never mind the backboard. It hit the bar, close, and yet not close enough, or rather a little too close for comfort perhaps. Save from JD Knight, Luby, that's an awful pop-up, but another 100 boost deal. That's a shame. Dez needed to get a piece of this. Allows JD Knight to break free. Turtle, shot on target, saved by Dalton. Good read.
Yeah, at this stage, you have to be hitting the ball point blank, period. It needs to happen for UT Dallas, even if it's not where they want it to go. Both teams are capable of picking off the other's passing lanes, so you need to be on top of every challenge you go for, every jump you make. One miss could be the ball in the back of your net, as Hexy and Turtle try to transition this one down. It's too high of a pop for anybody to get to immediately, but it's sent right back, and a slow response from Dalton allows Dez to cut through, try and take it away, and do it all on the other side, but Turtle blocks from the midfield line. Terps Esports looking for a decisive lead here, but a double up in the corner, and the third being demoed is going to slow down their chances.
Leaves it to Luby. In Terps Esports, it was a one-man press. They weren't really going to get much joy from this. Turtle, however, with a little more success, but again, conservative from the teammates, and Hexy's in place to make the save, but how much longer are they going to sit back and let UT Dallas stride forward? Well, into no man's land, Des will go. Touch for touch is safe, really. Helped on. And Luby throws it into very comforting hands. That's going to be not quite on target. It almost was. The redirect perilous.
Still looking for more. Luby with a challenge at the top of the box. Hexy clears it aside, and we're really starting to settle in here to the nitty-gritty of this series. Decisive factors starting to emerge for UT Dallas, trying to rely on that mechanical prowess that we know that they have. Terps Esports trying to make sure they keep their wits about them on all rotations. Dez looks central to Luby, sends it well away, and Luby jumped anyway. Dez will still control at least some of the ball from the corner, and fully JD Knight out. Turtle returns the favor. Luby comes through in the rotation as Dalton has to get out of the picture. There's just about 60 seconds to go. Somebody's got to take that step forward.
Looking for that breakout play. Turtle, but it comes through them. Lift. Luby stops it at the mid. Flip reset, kind of flubs it though. Turtle. No one there to receive. I did see someone rotating that way, but clearly rotating out rather than looking to cut in. Dead on target, and Hexy can't get there. 2-1.
Had a whole lot of time to size it up, but the positioning was not going to help. Luby off the corner. Nobody can immediately meet it. Not that that's an easy ball to take away regardless. And it's buried. UT Dallas, it's that all too familiar 2-1 lead, but much, much later in the game.
It just feels like the momentum has ever so slightly been swinging their way. Terps Esports starting to turtle up a little bit. Turtle by name, turtle by nature. Ironically enough, I think he's been one of the more positive ones. But speaking of positive, Dalton, what a glow up here. Finally puts one away for his own. And that's daylight here in game number 4.
And if there's anything you need to take away from this series, both teams look to make high-impact plays off of the kickoff. We saw Terps Esports score their 1 goal just 8 seconds into this particular game off of the very same sequence. So you got to watch yourselves as now Terps Esports threaten a second. What a huge save from Luby, who stands tall, dead center of the target. 20 seconds to go. UT Dallas find a transition, and they very well may put this game on ice. They do.
GG's go next for Terps Esports, and my worries have unfortunately developed into something a little more tangible. UT Dallas with the runaway. I think the scoreline perhaps flatters them a little bit, Galgan, but it's more about the industry. I did call their early game 1 and game 2 performances lazy. Not anymore. Finding each other a lot better. Rotating with a lot more menace. Saving another goal from going in, but the point still stands. It feels so much more agile and, I guess, more to the point, far more like the UT Dallas that we have become accustomed to here on the Rally Cry Collegiate series.
You know, sometimes saving your own teammate's shot, it's a power move. You know, showing your opponents, we didn't need this goal to win. We don't need to score this many against you. We can simply do it. Now, earlier on in the series where UT Dallas did that same thing, where they tried to, you know, one player save the teammate's goal, it didn't quite work out to the desired effect. But hey, you know, we'll let bygones be bygones. The series is tied. We're seeing at least 6 games out of this one, and I'm glad that we are seeing thus, because again, this particular series, UT Dallas needs to prove that they can hang with the top contenders in this tournament, despite the fact that they're already at the top of the table. And meanwhile, Terps Esports, just as any other team in the middle area, are trying to prove that they have what it takes to get near the podium. This is a series that, with a win, both teams prove a lot. With a loss, they end up popping up a ton of questions that they need to answer very quickly once we get to playoffs next week.
Yeah, I'm going to build on top of that discussion point a little bit more, actually, by saying I think that we've already had kind of confirmation that UT Dallas, the question going into this series was, are they a top team? Because if they are a top team, they should be putting Terps away based on their previous form. 4-0, 4-1 maybe at a stretch. But those opening 2 games, have kind of put a question mark on UT Dallas again, seemingly in that chasing pack behind your Boise States and your Oklahoma Christians. Now I actually look to the other side and ask Terps Esports, are you able to make that step up into UT Dallas territory? That sort of territory where on a great day at the office, you might be crowned the Rallycry Collegiate Series champion. Well, it is 2-2. There are still at least 2 more games to go. Potentially 3 should Game 7 beckon.
That all too frightening word, that M word, momentum. It does well and truly feel like it's in UT Dallas's hands at this point in time. I think before this series started, games 3 and 4 would be what you would expect the start of the series to look like. And once we shake off the dust of whatever Chaos Game 3 was, you start to get this out of UT Dallas, where they understand it's about time we end this series. And while there's still some minutes left to be played, UT Dallas will do their best to finish it as quickly as they can.
Oh, the vibes, Gaugan, the vibes are certified immaculate in the UT Dallas camp. But they cannot lay off the gas for too long, because Terps Esports will sniff out those chinks in the armor and strike at the lead. JD Knight stopped by Dez. Dalton continues his good work. Dez doesn't really put in good work there though. Turtle, down to Hexy. JD Knight, unfortunately, a little too far forward, and that allows UT Dallas not just to get away with it, but to get the runaway as well. Big pump! Oh, just enough! Just Hexy with a clutch save.
Whole lot of scrapping, mad dash to the near post. Can't find the goal, but certainly have the offensive stay. A bit of a team pinch, I believe, at least down to the ground. Early jump from Dez necessary to block Turtle aside as Terps Esports look for a strong transition. Backboard team bump, and that is a recipe for disaster that Terps Esports will gladly take advantage of.
Yeah, that's a lovely move from Hexy, but it's all about Dalton and Dez crossing paths once again. Easy enough for JD Knight, who puts on the brakes and screams ka-chow. But Terps Esports, with still 3 minutes and change to go, they've got a lot more to do before they can convince me. Breakaway goal, though, my goodness, Luby wasn't going to get a piece of it. Turtle goes backboard, but by the time he hit that setup, there was nobody around to follow up, which is yet again a problem the Terps need to overcome. They can't be playing scared now, not with UT Dallas still in a little bit of flux. Oh no!
Oh,
that's another team bump!
Again, chaos in the defensive end for UT Dallas, where they can't get out of each other's way. Dalton is there. Dez just racing out towards the back corner rather than staying online. All that, you know, a misrotation, call it a miscommunication. No matter how you shake it, Terps Esports are thriving in the chaos right now, where it was present before the series started. Now a team is starting to own it emphatically, and yet still UT Dallas continue to ring everywhere but the back of the net.
It wasn't quite a team bump, just good pressure for Terps Esports, but the pressure from UT Dallas continues to crank up, and yet Terps have certainly got something extra in their pocket this time around. And again, a shot goes wide. Dalton ends up setting up this play for Luby infield, well dealt with. Dez, wall, no one's there to receive this. Hexy, easy save. Luby back on it again. Lovely flick up over JD Knight. Turtle's the last man in command. Dez goes underneath him. Luby a little too far forward. JD Knight downfield. Look at Turtle watching down the other side, but it's a quick turnaround. Dez over the top of Hexy. No, it's Dalton. 3 players to go through, no chance.
So difficult for UT Dallas. The stepping stones were there earlier on in the sequence. It felt like there were 4 corners where 3 occupied by one of every player for UT Dallas. The 4th by the ball. They just fell ever so short on that sequence, but they've continued this pressure from the midfield line. Dalton now rotates back and still takes a challenge, but that could be bad. Luby, nice redirect to clear it aside as Terps Esports try to set up shop. Dalton demoed in the backfield. Is going to be a free respawn for the defense at the very least. Try to delay Terps Esports from getting their offense going, but it's Luby and Dalton doubling up in the corner, and they get scored on again.
You just got to look at the common denominator sometimes, whether it's Dez or Dalton. There's just something that's not quite clicking. Those immaculate vibes are well and truly in the mud. Terps Esports, absolutely fair cop to you guys. An outstanding recovery from what has been a difficult past 2 games. 3 goals to the good. UT Dallas, you still feel like they could pop off at any moment, but the only way that they're going right now is down, down, down.
The 5 games we've seen in this series, this has to be UT Dallas at their weakest state, which is sad to see. But so many missed opportunities courtesy of double commits, bumps, demos that they're finding themselves victims to. We said early on that Terps Esports need to bring the firepower to this series in order to have a chance of winning. And they've done so, but to do that feels like half the battle. To have UT Dallas make the mistakes unprovoked feels like icing on a very sad cake here against UT Dallas.
Dalton, there's Dez, that was a nice idea, but again, JD read it too easily. Dez back, well, that's a lovely setup for Luby here. That's a far, far away to get the shot, but he follows up on his incredible setup. At least they got one.
You know what? Fair enough. UT Dallas is going to continue to score incredible goals like this. They're going to hang in the series. They may not get this win, but they know they can go next. There's still 50 seconds. Let's not start singing just yet. There is anything and everything left to play for UT Dallas if they can control this ball off the kickoff, as they like to get early sequences going. But JD Knight with a quick block away, not going to allow that sequence to formulate too heavily. Another solid challenge on the sidewall read, and Terps Esports look like they're ready to close it out.
Oh, so easy though, straight into the path of Hexy. Luby shepherding this to the side, just feels a little bit like we're playing for time right now. Terps Esports with 3 goals in 20 seconds should see this one nice and safely home, would put them onto match point scenario, and you wouldn't bet against them actually converting this in 6 rather than the 7 on the back of this performance. UT Dallas, it's either been spectacular or it's been spectacularly sad, and there is no in between, no 6 or 7 out of 10. Which version are we going to see here next time around?
Game 5, done and dusted. The University of Maryland grabbed the win. They are on to double match point. It's not the quadruple that they had threatened earlier on, but I think they'll be very elated to know that they have 2 chances to close out against UT Dallas here. We're going into the series again. Expectations, they've clearly been shaken up. We've been through a very odd series at times. There have been moments where you see UT Dallas's play and you go, this is what I expect from them given what I've seen the past 3 weekends. But at this stage, it's not coming together as consistently as you expect from this roster. And that can come down to a various amount of things, right? It's one weekend, one small microcosm. The players might not be feeling it. They might have other obligations. There are so many psychological issues that we can delve into, and that's a whole other conversation. But I really want to give credit to the University of Maryland right here, because they're playing this series the way that they need to. They knew it would be chaotic, it would be moving very quickly, and that UT Dallas can pull some insane plays out of their hat when they need to. Terps Esports have responded well by doing a little bit of that and then some.
They're doing something which I've criticized teams the last couple of weeks for failing to do when the going gets tough. They're doing the basics right, Gaugan. When they're in defense, they're setting up for those transitional plays. They're not just throwing it away for the sake of just defending the goal line. It's about that 1-step, 2-step ahead strategy that will then hopefully give you an opportunity down the other side of the pitch. And when they get there, UT Dallas are all over the place because they're getting harassed, they're getting bullied, but they're also the architects of their own downfall. This is a bad day for UT Dallas. Make no mistake about it, folks. And Terps Esports are looking to make it a nightmare.
Question is, can UT Dallas pick anything up to take away from this particular series? Surely they want to see 7 at the very least. And the collaborative efforts really start to show on a play like this. Any other team trying to pull something off, you draw it up as a bit of a double commit, trying to throw too many hands forward on offense, but they knew exactly what they were doing.
I know which restaurant they like to frequent because that was a combo king, Gaugan. That was a combo king maneuver. Brilliant, brilliant pinch play. Ingenious, but not totally unheard of from UT Dallas. We see them trying going for those plays. Perhaps a little bit too much for their own good, and that really does leave their rotation out of sorts. But when it does end up successful. It looks very pretty indeed. But of course, most crucially, most importantly, it gives UT Dallas a lead to hold on to, albeit just the one for now. I would like to see 2, maybe even 3 go down without reply from Terps before I can start to get back on the bandwagon again.
Terps Esports will try and work against that, get something going for themselves. Sidewall for JD, but it's too far away. Turtle redirects all the way to the own back wall, and it goes top corner. In and out, save from underneath for Hexy. And Turtle will try to get the clear. Big exchange of the sequence there. Off the near post, JD Knight lucky with a save. Turtle, this redirect headed towards the other net this time around. Lob to the back wall. And UT Dallas will see it away.
Soft, sensitive touch there from Dalton, which has allowed his 2 teammates to expend the boost where it's required most, and that's in going box to box, but not much joy here. JD Knight just watches as this continues to move forward via Turtle. Backboard and into no man's land. Hexy should recover this. The setup looks strong. Flip backboards, trying to go for the bump on Luby. There is a double demo midfield, briefly 2v2. Benefits UT Dallas, I feel, prioritises boost. I think he was hoping to go for boost and ball. Ends up only getting 1, of course. Up high, Dez. JD Knight with the disruption through the corner. Misread from Turtle. Luby. Far post! Almost nails it. The bar denies.
Really got a feel for UT Dallas. So many of these shots are ending up close to on target. Just wide. Beautiful redirect from Turtle. Has been going for it all game long and finds one right under the bar. Tucked in, neat and tidy.
Check out the watershed, folks. I think we're a little bit before it. Sultry redirect from Turtle. That was a sublime finish to tie things up here for Terps. UT Dallas lose out on the kickoff. Hexy Turtle, what were they thinking? Unbelievable miscommunication.
Mom said it's my turn with the ball, and Turtle nearly makes it down. Now set center. Here's the follow-up from JD Knight. Non-tap to Terps Esports with half of the game remaining. They're playing with the desperation of a team down 0-3 in the closing moments, needing to score 5, and yet that level of play feels like it's necessary against UT Dallas.
Oh, dearie me. Back and forth with Dez, but Dalton's too far forward. That's a sentence I've caught myself saying a couple of times, actually. The press a little bit too gumptious in certain positions. Luby has to go up here, expend a lot of boost, and look at JD Knight here. Unnecessarily using 25 just to position a little bit more forward. Doesn't matter in the end. UT Dallas goes, oh, never mind. They've gone a little too forward themselves. Back into the net from the backboard. It's Terps. It's 2-1.
It's Hexy over the top, playing as you like, and Dez just tried anything to get that ball clear, but it's not going to turn away from that near corner. Terps Esports now threatening the series finish if they can close this out, but Luby certainly does not want that to be the case. Flip reset guaranteed, saves it low, beautiful flip in, but sent back immediately by Turtle on target, forces Dalton into action.
Oh, these clears are crucial to the Terps play style. And they're already on their bikes. Again, it's a great sign of communications that they know that they're going to have successful clears. They know that UT Dallas absolutely does not have the same thing in their locker. They really enjoy playing close to each other and passing their way out of trouble. But take it from a fan of a soccer team that does that week in, week out. It's terrifying. And if the team knows what you're going to do, let me tell you, it's very easy to counter. And Turtle here could just play with the ball a little bit. 60 seconds and change left. UT Dallas, the series is on the line.
Pushing. They're trying as hard as they can, it would seem. Dez rotating in. Luby looking for bumps on the goal line, but a clear to the midfield line, and UT Dallas has to back up very quickly. They threw a whole lot forward. Luby redirects away, seemingly from danger. Dalton to follow on the sidewall. Nice little pinch touch past one. It's centered up for Luby, but a quick response from Turtle. Make sure that that shot doesn't come through. There's a lot of resources being committed, though, and another demo. Infield pass. Big save from Hexy.
But it was shot straight at him. Galgan had to have a little more venom and or direction. Now there's 2 in place, and that's another big clear. Sends UT Dallas right back to their own half. Turtle looking to dunk. There is simply no forward charge. Maybe here now a slight breakaway from Dez, but misses out, gets the demo. That's not a bad consolation prize. Infield to Louis. On target, good read from Turtle. 10 seconds left now, and Turtle does enough to dissuade the attack. Luby, that's a setup. Dez gets a demo. Complete Galgan infield again, but Turtle's on that backboard. I think this one is done, and indeed it is. Upset of the Collegiate series so far. Terps take down the top seed UT Dallas.
The Game 7 merchants in UT Dallas denied a trip to such game in this series, and what a way to get it done for Maryland. My word, it feels like at times where UT Dallas needed to win these games, we truly saw them in their most desperate state, which brought out some highly entertaining sequences, but at the same time, those levels of miscommunications, double commits, bumping, whatnot, not finding themselves on the better end or the beneficial end of demolition plays and whatnot, it all just started to add up. They had this tax that they were paying every single time, and Terps Esports were taking home all the money.
Galgan, when you live long enough as the hero, eventually you got to turn into the villain. I realize that is a Batman film quote, but I think it applies here most certainly. You brought an excellent question to the table a week ago when UT Dallas were once again number 1 seed going into this into the week 3 bracket. They were very definitively the underdogs in week number 1, and we were like, wow, check this out, they're doing so well. And then they win week 2, and we're like, okay, they got some heat. They're looking really good. Week 3, how do they deal with the pressure of being the expected to wins rather than the it would be nice to wins? They did really well. This is a wake-up call. And if it was to happen at all, Galgan, I'm glad that they happened now and not in the play-in bracket.
And I think it's important to note, you know, people listening in, fans of both schools or just neutrals, like UT Dallas is not a team of plucky newcomers that are just now being thrown into the limelight, right? Luby, Dez, and Dalton have been around. We know what they're capable of. They can take down some great teams, and they have done so. But in this small area that is the Rally Cry Collegiate Series, they've had a couple of wake-up calls at this point. And next weekend is when the playoffs start. They're still going to be towards the top of the table by virtue of the points that they've accrued over showing up for all 4 weekends of action. But that's the thing. Now, the learning process is done. You've got to understand what each person's goal is out of this particular event and execute on a game plan day in, day out from this moment forward. Because teams like Terps Esports, who are hungry to make these big dogs upset, they're not going to give you any easier of a time when we get to the playoff bracket. The adjustments, the learning has to happen at a very expedited rate.
I might have to re-examine my surprise of the Rally Cry Collegiate Series claim. Ohio State Gray just took down Southern Miss Coca-Cola 4-3.
Ooh. Okay. I mean, granted, it's been a hot minute since we've seen Southern Miss Coca-Cola, but Ohio State Gray, they've clearly got it with them. The sweep earlier on that we saw from them from UC Berkeley, and now Southern Miss Coca-Cola falling. I don't know, Relic. I think we got another dark horse brewing.
Let me just check the points as well, because, well, actually, it depends, doesn't it? All eyes on Drexel Dragons now. Because if they make it into the semi-finals, that bumps up their points from 10 points to 25 points minimum, so 15 points, which would be enough to see them equal on points. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't, because UT Dallas have already accrued points from this point on. So
you know,
that's a lot of points. It's so they've got 10 points. So UT Dallas are on 140. So Drexel Dragons with 15 points would go on to, sorry, with 25. Wait, you know what?
Yeah, you know, we're gonna deal with points. We're gonna deal with points tomorrow. If there's anything that you and I are not very proficient at, it's math and numbers and points. I know I can speak for both of us on that regard, yes. But you don't need a whole lot of complex math to add up the fact that Terps take this series when they advance to the semifinals. As you rightly pointed out, Ohio State Gray have also advanced, and Oakland University, with a 4-1 win over the University of New Haven Chargers, will move on to our championship Sunday, as it were, here of the 4th weekend of play. But you see the story in front of you. UT Dallas, my word, putting up 63 shots over 6 games is quite the level of insanity. And I don't think you need to look further than Game 3 of that series for the literal definition of Rocket League insanity. But if there's anybody that's going to rise through the insanity and really prove to us that they are here to make the competition tougher, make it stronger, and make a name for themselves, it's this Terps esports roster. They got it done in 6, a convincing series win, and they have a lot to play for in the playoffs.
They got a chance to see top 4. That's really impressive. They're not there just yet. Such is the gap between the top 4, currently edged out by Southern Miss Coca-Cola. Funnily enough, they're going to be shaking hands with Ohio State. Great for that result on the other sides of the bracket. But how far are they going to be able to go? They're going to need, ideally, a grand final appearance if they want to try and get anything higher than 5th. But there we see then our bracket mostly confirmed for tomorrow. We know that Oakland University are going to be the next opponents up for the University of Maryland. Osu Gray then with a fantastic result against Southern Miss Coca-Cola. Again, previous double bridesmaids, but never quite the bride themselves. We await the result of Drexel Dragons Pescados. I think that Drexel Dragons, if they win that series, will be the only previous winners of a bracket to enter Championship Sunday. That certainly is quite the turn up for the books. And Gaugen, it does promise much for Sunday, but where can the viewers find us and when can the viewers find us is the question.
Well, the great news is if you're here right now, you don't have to make too many changes to your schedule as long as you're free tomorrow. Same time, same place, right here. Again, we will conclude tomorrow this 4th weekend of closed qualifier play, but the playoffs still up for grabs to be contested next week, with the grand final being held all the way on Saturday, March 16th. So that is your layout for any future events that we've got here for the Rally Cry Collegiate Series featuring Rocket League, presented by the Army National Guard. Again, we hope you all enjoyed watching today's action. The semifinals and grand finals of the 4th and final closed qualifier for this series are on the way tomorrow. Same time, same place. We will see you there.
We get how uncertain the future is. We've come of age in a complex world, face to face with problems we didn't create. So what's gonna happen next? We are. Because our future is the future. The life we have chosen has prepared us for this. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day. We're gonna save families from disasters and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more because we have an appointment with destiny. We invite you to join us. The next greatest generation is now.